Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Discovering the depths of the Quran, Unit 16, Surah al-Falaq, verses 4 to 5. This has proudly been brought to you by Muslim Online. In this session, we discuss verse 4 and 5 of Surah al-Falaq, covering the topics of why we need to seek protection from magicians as well as that of jealousy, and thereafter followed by a conclusion.
ومن شر النفاثات في العقد
وَمِن شَرِّ النَّفَّاثَاتِ فِي الْعُقَدِ, and from the evil of the women who blow on the knots. Now the word naffathat or an-naffathat is derived from the Arabic word an-nafth, which literally means to blow. And the word uqad is the plural of the word uqada, which refers to a knot. Now the magicians usually would tie knots on a string or piece of thread, and they would recite magical incantations and blow on them as they do so. Looking at the word an-naffathat, it refers to females in the literal sense. However, some scholars have mentioned that the word an-naffathat refers to the evil souls who blow on knots, and that translation would include both men and women as well. Other scholars provide the explanation if we are going to go the route and say that an-naffathat particularly refers to females, then scholars in that regard explain why is that the case that females are specifically mentioned. It's because if we remember in our last session, we spoke about an individual, a Jewish individual by the name of Labid ibn A'sam. And perhaps he got this most heinous act of black magic done on Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam by his daughters, and hence, according to those scholars, the act of witchcraft is particularly ascribed to females because of the daughters of Labid ibn A'sam. Now, the question is, why do we need to seek protection from the magicians? The first reason, we must understand that if we look at the cause of revelation for Surah al-Falaq as well as Surah al-Nas that we had discussed in our previous sessions, these two surahs were revealed because of the incident of black magic, as we have been discussing all along. A Jewish individual afflicted Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam with black magic, and he became severely ill for approximately 6 months, according to some scholars. Number two, we seek protection from magicians because it will then make others aware of the reality of black magic. And perhaps a third reason given by the scholars is that sometimes a person may be afflicted with some ailment or some illness, and they might think it to be of a physical cause. They may think that it is some kind of medical ailment, and then a person would try and get themselves medically cured, they undertake medical treatment, etc. Meanwhile, the sickness within them is not caused by anything of the physical nature, but it is caused by black magic, perhaps. And in the meanwhile, while a person is undertaking medical treatment, the magical effect would continue to grow worse. So we must make people aware of such things, that sometimes when an individual goes and seeks medical treatment for a particular illness, and they're just not getting better, things are getting worse. They've been to hundreds of doctors, and nobody knows what the cause of the illness is, then a person should understand that perhaps they are affected by black magic, and they should then seek protection from Allah Azza wa Jal in this regard.
ومن شر حاسد إذا حسد
وَمِن شَرِّ حَاسِدٍ إِذَا حَسَدَ. Verse 5, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala concludes Surah Al-Falaq by saying that we also seek refuge in Allah from min sharri hasidin, or min sharri hasidin, and from the evil of the one who gets jealous, إِذَا hasad, when they do get jealous. So the third thing from which people are asked specifically to seek protection from is a hasid, a person who is jealous, and hasad, jealousy in itself. Now, this has been specified for the same reasons that we had discussed, because black magic was worked on the Prophet ﷺ on account of jealousy. The Jews, the hypocrites, could not bear to see the rapid progress and expansion of Islam. They could not defeat Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam in outer combat. They could not defeat the Muslims. Therefore, they tried to satisfy their jealousy by performing witchcraft on Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam. So there were uncountable number of green-eyed monsters against the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That is the major reason why protection was sought against them. Jealousy of the jealous one gives him restless days and sleepless nights. He is at all times after causing loss to his envied person. Therefore, the harm he wishes to inflict is very severe. So, the Arabic word hasad, the English equivalent of which is jealousy, is invariably used in the bad sense. It generally means to desire the deprivation of another person rather than one's own acquisition of any plus that he may possess. Simply put, hasad means that when somebody has something that you want, then your desire is that that person should not have it, rather you should have it. And that is evil. It means that a person should feel unhappy at the better fortune and good quality that Allah has granted to another, and wishes that it should be taken away from the other person and given to him, or at least the other person should be deprived of it. So hasad in this particular sense is totally forbidden, and it is a major sin. It is a sickness and disease and illness of the heart. And this is the first sin that was actually committed in the heavens, and also the first sin to have been committed on the face of this earth. That Iblis, Shaitan, was jealous of Adam alayhi salatu wasalam in the heavens, and Adam alayhi salatu wasalam on this earth. His son, Qabil, was jealous of his other son, Habil. And that pertains to jealousy. On the other hand, we have something called ghibta. Ghibta. This means to envy someone. Now, to envy someone is different from being jealous of them. To envy someone means that you desire for yourself to have something that they have been blessed with, but at the same time, you are also happy that they have that particular blessing with them. There's no idea of them having to lose that. You don't feel anything in your heart that they shouldn't have that or they should be deprived, etc., etc. So, ghibta, to be envious of someone, is not only permissible, but in matters of deen, it is also desirable. In conclusion, apart from the general protection that is sought in the surah, protection is sought from three specific evils, and these are mentioned separately in verses 3, 4, and 5. Furthermore, in the first and the third verse, specific evils, particular restrictions are placed. The first specific evil, ghasiq, darkness, is restricted by the phrase إِذَا waqab, when it penetrates. And if you look at the third specific evil mentioned in the surah, that of jealousy, it is restricted by the phrase إِذَا hasad, when a person is jealous. So the practice of witchcraft is left unrestricted because its harmful effect is general. The harmful effect of darkness is felt when there is total absence of light, plunging the night in intense and utter darkness. Likewise, jealousy may not cause harm to its object until the jealous one takes an active step with word or deed to satisfy his heart. For until he takes a practical step or an active step, his being unhappy may be harmful to himself, but it is not harmful for the other person, so that he may seek refuge from it. Hence, restrictions are placed on the first and third specific evils, that of the darkness of the night and that of the jealousy of a jealous person. So this is the surah in conclusion. And let us make it a practice that from now onwards, if we haven't already started this practice, and let us inculcate the practice of reciting Surah al-Falaq and Surah al-Nas after every fard salah, to recite it in the morning, to recite it in the evening. And after reciting, a person may gently blow over their hands and pass their hands over their body. Inshallah, inshallah, this will be a means of protection from all forms of evil and black magic. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to protect us all. This session is proudly being brought to you by Muslim Online.